In the previous lesson, you learned how to read data from a database table and how to add data to a database table. In this one, we'll complete our database-driven application by adding edit and delete functionality. So this is what the application looks like so far. We're able to read data and we can add data. Let's take our next step and add some edit buttons right here. So we're going to come over to our code and we're going to first go to display donuts. If you recall, there are 3 columns there, and we need to add a couple more columns which are going to hold buttons. So let's create our edit button, table data, and what I'm going to put in here is an actual form. And I'll say form method equals get action equals edit. Okay, and here's where it gets a little interesting. In this query string, in this URL, in this route, I'm going to include the ID of the donut. And that will be useful in the route that receives this form post. So I know that I have the donut ID available to me in this page because I've looked at the contents of donuts before. And so I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that right now and add that value right here. So look at donuts sub I count, and then dot donut underscore ID. Okay, and then I need to end the printing out of that variable. And then for the tag there, I'm going to end that tag as well. Okay, so there's my form tag, and I need to add a button in here. And I'll say button type equals submit, and on it I will put the word edit. Okay, I haven't changed anything with relation to my main app at this point, so I can reload this page and everything is going to continue to work. But if I click on this, it says there is no edit route available to me. And note, if I right click on here and do view page source, that with each button, that action now holds the ID of the donut from the database table. And we're going to take advantage of that in just a second. Okay, so let us go back over to here, and we're going to go over to our index.js page. And what we need to add in is a edit donut route. So how we're going to do that is I'm going to say edit donut form app.get, and then I'm going to do edit. And then to read variables that have been passed in the query string or in the route, we do colon, and then you can put any variable name you want. I could put blah, 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 blah. In this case, I'll call it donut ID. Could have been anything, but I'll be able to reference this in just a second because I'm typing it. So it's about the position, not about the name. All right, so same stuff we always do with an Express application. This is where all of the action happens. Okay, the actual variable is held in an attribute that is called request.params.donutID. So we could do console.log just to verify this and say you sent request.params.donutID. And rather than doing a redirect or anything else right now, I'll just do response.send just as a short-term thing to demonstrate the receipt of this variable. So I'll just say hi from edit. All right, so I'm gonna hit save. All of my semicolons fill in, which is nice. Let's just check that this is working. So I'm gonna hit Control-C and then start this up again. Go over to my web page. Reload this, click edit, and it says hi from edit, and we can see what was passed in the URL there. And if I come back over to here, it says you sent 1. All right, so if I click on one of the other ones, like way down here, it says you sent 6. So this is important. I'm going to need to retrieve all of the donut information and put it into my form. In order to do that, I need to know the ID of the donut. All right, so let's go ahead now, and I'm going to get rid of that. I don't technically need this anymore either, because I know it's working. And I need to do a select statement to get not all the records this time, but just one record. So I'll do Knex dot select everything from donut is my table. And here is something additional that I haven't done before. It's a filter. Well, I'll do where donut ID, and it's where it's going to match and be equal to this value that was passed in. And then, ironically, the dot then happens. So assuming you get that result back, which is going to be one record. So it's going to be an array that just has one object in it. Let's go ahead and do something with that. We'll say if we are successful, response.render, and we'll go to edit donut form, which we haven't created yet. And we'll pass in an array of donuts that only has one thing in it, and it will hold result. So just that one value. Okay, so this is an array that is ready to be read in our page if we just create that page. So let's go ahead and create a new page. Oops, clicked in the wrong area here. I'll click, we're going to put that in views. So new file, and it's going to be edit donut form dot EJS. Okay, let's go ahead and fill this thing out. It's going to be a lot like our add donut form. So let's just go ahead and steal from that. We'll go Control A, Control C, and then go over here to edit donut form and paste that information in there. I'm going to need to make some changes here. So one of the changes is that when I hit post on this, maybe let's clear up our context a little bit. We're editing a donut. And then down here I'll do update the donut. Or maybe I could put update in both places. But when we hit submit here, I want it not to go to add donut since I copy pasted. I want it to go to edit. And I also want to indicate which donut I want to be updated. And so I'm going to use that syntax that I used before. Less than % equals, and then a donut. And I know exactly how many rows there are in this particular record set, and it's going to be 1. So the first index item in there is 0. So remember, our counting in arrays starts at 0. Dot donut underscore ID. So I'm accessing the one and only object and looking at its donut ID property. And then I'll end that out. Okay, and so for the rest of these, I need to pass in from this variable that I have the values that are contained in them. So, and I need to set that in the input boxes of the text form. So, of the text fields. So I'll go value equals, and I'll just go ahead and do this for each of these. So within the value equals portion of these form fields, this is where I'm going to put in some stuff, and let me just give myself a little bit more space to work with. So this is the format of reading from that one array element. And so I'm going to copy paste that, and I know that the first column is called donut underscore name. And for this one, I'm going to have donut, I'm just going to have price. That's what that one's going to be called. And I know that this one is called type. And if I wanted to verify any of this, I could just put some EJS brackets here and just do a console.log a donut and see what's inside there. But I already kind of know that it's of length 1, so I'm feeling okay. Okay, I'm going to hit save here, and let's go ahead and just stop and restart this, and hopefully we've got everything correct so far. So here I am on this page, and if I click edit, oh no, I've done something wrong. All right, what is it not liking? It says a donut is not defined. All right, let's go see what we have going on over here. So over here in index dot, oh, a donuts. That's what I did. All right, good enough. It's an array called donut. So let's go ahead and stop that, restart it. And then as I reload this page and click edit, now it works nicely. So notice if I right click on this page and do view source, in the value equals area of the form fields, it has filled in some information. And so everything's looking good. All right. So if I were to click update donut now, it's going to say, hey, there's no post route set up for this. So let's go ahead and rectify that by updating our index.js page. So I go back out to here, and I'm going to call this edit donut post, and I'll say app.post, and it's similar to this one up here in that it's still getting the same URL format, edit, and I'll give it the same parameter variable name, donut ID, and then handle my request and response objects. Okay, and I'm going to be reading from that form post, so I'll say let s donut name equals request.body.donut name. Let s price equal request.body.price. Oh, and I did not spell that right. And then let s type equal request.body.type. All right, so now I'm ready to do a different Knex statement than I've done before, and this one's going to be an update. So I'm going to say Knex, and I'm going to be interacting with the donut table, and I'm going to say where, so I'm going to match a particular row, the donut ID is equal to request.params.donutID. So that's the thing that's getting passed in right there, that variable name. So where the rows match that description, I'm going to do an update command. And the update command simply takes an object with name value pairs. So my name value pairs are, so my column name in the database is donut name, and I want to set that equal to this. And the price column in the database, I want to set equal to that variable that I have up above. And the type, I'm going to set to that. Also the variable that I set up above. Now, if I wanted to, I could just directly take these values right here and put them right here. I just think that it, for the first time through, this makes it a little bit more clear. Subsequently, I might just directly put them right there because it's taking up extra space. All right, so assuming that everything worked correctly, then we're going to want to do a redirect at this point and go back to the display donuts page. So I'll go .then and take a result that I'm not actually going to do anything with. So, and the actual action is going to be response.redirect and go back to display donuts. All right, there it all is. So I'm taking in my form post fields, and I'm updating the donut table for a particular donut. I hit save. I get a little bit of reformatting. Let's see if I've got any additional typos this time around. All right, so I'm going to start this back up again. Come back. And let's say I changed my chocolate donut to 101. And I hit update donut. Uh-oh. Cannot read property price of undefined. I bet you I know what I did again. Where it's supposed to be request, I wrote response. All right, so fixing that, hitting save, starting it up again. Oops. Coming back over to here. All right, so reloading the page, changing this to 101, hitting submit, and now I've got a donut that's 101. I can change it back to change it to something else. I could change it to 102. I could change the chocolate old fashioned as the name. I could pretend that this one's fancy. So any change that I make to any of my donuts is getting picked up from that code that I just wrote. Okay, we're almost done. The last thing that needs to happen is to add a delete button here. So let's go back over to display donuts. And similar to this form that goes to an edit route, we're going to create another column. And I'll just go ahead and copy this because it's going to be real similar. And this one is going to go to delete. And I can even retain this value right here because I'm going to be telling my route that I intend to delete a particular donut. And for right here, I want this to say delete. Okay, so with that minor change, let's see what that looks like in the web page. I don't have to reload my app because this is an EJS page. And I'm going to come back over to here, hit reload. Sweet, it's there. And if I view the page source, then I can see that for each row that there is a form for editing and there's a form for deleting, and the values are in there just like I'd hope. So that means I can now go about writing a route that's going to handle this post. So first though, I'll just verify that, hey, there's no get route to handle this post. Okay, so let us go over to our code and go to index.js and create a delete route. So I'll call this delete donut route app.get delete donut ID. So similar to what we've done before. Request response. And this is the syntax for deleting from a database table. I'm going to reference a particular table. In this case, it's going to be donut. And then I'll do some filtering. I'll say where. And I'm going to specify the column name is donut ID. And where that column name matches request, or the record matches this particular ID that I passed in the URL. So for any records that match this pair, I'm going to say delete, and that's all I need to do. And so the next thing is just going to be to say simply then and pass in a result. I'm going to do response dot redirect and go back to the route that is display donuts. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. All right, so at a high level, I'm reading this variable. I'm saying delete is the command, and I'm going to delete rows where there's this match, and if it works correctly, then I'm going to redirect to this route. So let's go ahead and verify that that is going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this, restart it again, come back out to here. All right, let's go ahead and reload. And bacon sounded kind of gross, so let's go ahead and click delete. And it worked. Taco, it's gone too. All right, fantastic. We have now completed an application where we can add donuts, read donuts on the page, delete them, and update them. With this, you're ready to go and create some fantastic applications. Good luck and have fun.